And happy Friday, everyone. My name is meteorologist Heather Kane. It's time for our daily hail forecast, sponsored as always by See-Through Group, American Law Group, American Contractor Show, Atlas Roofing, as well as Dent Source, who is our newest sponsor. Welcome, you guys, and thank you all for sponsoring our videos. So let's get right into our weather headlines. Once again, we did make a few 3-star map or greater maps yesterday, so we're going to recap those. And then today, DFW, once again, you may see another chance to see some large hail this afternoon, evening. So we'll talk about that as well as the other areas that we'll be watching for today. And then getting into tomorrow as well as into a Sunday, it could be an active weekend ahead. So we'll talk about all of that as well. But before we get into basically what happened yesterday as well as what we are expecting for today and the next few days, we do have one event coming up. This is a new event. Since you all loved the hail forecast, we decided to put together a hurricane forecast. So this is called the Raising Cane Forecast, and it's going to be down in Orlando, Florida, on June 18th. More info about this can be found on our Facebook page, and to buy tickets, we have an event posting as well, so you can go there and buy your tickets for that. So that's just a few weeks away, so make sure you go on right now and buy your tickets before they run out. So here are yesterday's storm reports. You can see once again plenty of activity across the lower 48. Very active in the central part of the U.S. as well as down south in Oklahoma and Texas, as well as more activity in the eastern part of the U.S. So let's zoom on in here just a little bit to take a look at some of the worst hit areas. Again, hail from basically the Dakotas and into western Nebraska. A lot of wind here as well from Nebraska into Iowa, and some more hail as well, and then even a few tornadoes here with those red icons. And then moving on down south, we had some more hail activity. We had a few maps that I'll cover in just a few moments here in Oklahoma as well as Texas that did reach 3-star status or higher, and then some more scattered activity from Tennessee into parts of Virginia, northeastward into the northeast. And yeah, we even had some activity in Maine. So we did have 2 maps yesterday that were 3-star ranking or greater. So we're going to show some more details here about those. The first one was a 4-star map that happened in Texas yesterday. And this one is called San Angelo, Marlin, Hanlon, Texas. The largest hail that occurred from these storms was up to a baseball, so 2.75 inches in diameter. And the amount of homes that were impacted by quarter-size hail or larger was almost 85,000. So we did have a very strong storm impact San Angelo, where we did have a baseball-sized hail move on through the area, and then you can see these other swaths just to the east of San Angelo, so just south of Eden, north of Menard, and then even more here. This is the swath that went through Marlin, and then more here where, what is it, if I step all the way here, Hamlin, Texas, got up to 2-inch hail with that storm. And then there's some other swaths across Texas as well, but those are the worst hit areas. So that map is online for purchase. If you need to get an individual map, if you're a subscriber, you should already have access to that. And then we had another map. This was a 3-star map in Oklahoma. So right here in the Hail Palace State, some of the worst hit areas were Altus, where we had up to I think up to baseball size hail or 3-inch hail in those purple areas here. And this name, by the way, is Altus, Oklahoma City. The largest hail that impacted the areas with this map was up to 3.5 inches in diameter. So we've got some large ones falling from a few of those storms. And in terms of a quarter-size hail or larger, that impacted almost 53,000 homes. So again, Altus got slammed yesterday, as well as here in Oklahoma City, downtown, and into the northeastern parts of the metro, staying just to the south of our office here in Edmond. We got up to golf ball size hail with that. So here are current conditions across the lower 48. You can see we have a low pressure spinning here in the near the South Dakota, North Dakota border, dropping some heavy rain as well as some snow on the cold side. Warm front is draped across southern Wisconsin. We got some storms ahead of a cold front as well. And we do have a severe thunderstorm watch out for the Chicago area. And then we have another low pressure system down in western Texas. So we're going to zoom on into Texas first. We are going to be watching the DFW area once again for the potential of severe weather this afternoon. Ahead of that system, there will be a dry line associated with this as well. And so right now it's quiet, but that will be changing as we get into later this afternoon. And then we have a few storms trying to pop up here in western Arkansas, as well as into Tennessee and southern Illinois. And then moving up to the north here, again, Chicago, you guys are under a severe thunderstorm watch right now. We do have a few storms that are making their way into the southern parts of the metro area, and some more storms firing up in parts of Iowa and into southern Wisconsin as well. And let's just zoom on in here. You can see just to the south of Chicago, downtown, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning out for those, and then even a tornado warning out here for western Illinois. So a bit active right now, and that will continue on through the rest of this afternoon. And then just some heavy rain here in parts of the south, including parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, up into western Kentucky. Nothing severe with that at this time though. So zooming on out, taking a look at our temperatures, it is 78 here in Oklahoma City, 84 down in Dallas, nearing 90 in Houston, and those 80s stretch all the way to the eastern part of the U.S. And getting behind that system, temperatures start to drop off, where it's only 68 in Minneapolis, a bit cooler in the mountains where it's only 59 in Denver. And in terms of our dew points, it's a bit sticky out there. I can see those darker greens showing up in parts of eastern Oklahoma, as well as into Texas. That's when those, when the dew points get basically 65 degrees or higher, you really start to feel that stickiness in the air. So a bit uncomfortable here in Dallas, where we have a 74-degree dew point, 76 in New Orleans. A lot better though as we head further north in Wichita, where we have a 47-degree dew point. So lots of moisture for those storms to feed off for today. So here is our significant hail model. So basically those brighter colors indicate where we could see some larger hail. As we get into later on this evening, this is stopping at 5 p.m. You can see those brighter colors here basically from central Missouri into eastern Oklahoma down into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And as we continue through the rest of this evening, you can see those brighter colors stick around through basically midnight, and then they start to drop off a bit. But then as we get into tomorrow, you can see once again those values creep right back up. So we will be watching basically from Wichita southward to just the west of Dallas, I think, for another chance for some large hail. And you can see it really starts to ramp up just basically right after sunset. Some of the same areas here, and then they just continue to stick around through the overnight hours as well, and then they will shift for our Sunday. And then in terms of instability, we have plenty of that for today as well as getting into tomorrow. Those brighter colors indicate those high CAPE values. So those high instability values, excuse me. So just to the east of Oklahoma City for today, Dallas, you can see those reds here. So plenty of instability will be around as we get through this evening, and then getting into the overnight hours, they will still kind of stick around a bit. And then once we get into tomorrow, we once again start to ramp up. So we will have another chance for severe weather in the central and southern plains as we get into tomorrow. And then they start to drop off a bit as we begin our Sunday. So let's break it all down. Here are a few radar frames for you. This is the first one here in Oklahoma down into Texas. Right now we don't have a whole lot going on, but as we get into the rest of this afternoon, things will change. So this is stopping it at 5 p.m. Central Time. So basically, right when you're leaving work, you can see this model is firing up a few storms in the DFW area, as well as just to the south of Oklahoma City. We should be fine here in OKC today. The activity will remain to our south and east. But as we go through the rest of the evening, you can see that activity in DFW just keeps on firing here. And so it could be another active day in the DFW area. And then we could see some more development for storms in parts of Arkansas as well. And this will continue all push off to the east as we get into later on this evening and into the overnight hours tonight. And then stopping at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. Memphis, you may get some hail as well. Little Rock, we can't rule you guys out either. So and again, another large area that we're going to be watching for the potential of hail today. Then moving up to the north, Chicago, especially the south side, you guys are getting some storms right now. As we go through the rest of this afternoon, we could see some more storms develop here in parts of Missouri, Iowa, as well as into Illinois. So we could get another round of storms moving through the Chicago area later on this evening, stopping at 6 p.m. Central Time. And then as we go through the rest of this evening, that activity will push off into parts of Michigan, Indiana. You can see it. They may start to lose their punch a little bit as we lose that heating of the day. And then as we get into early tomorrow morning, we should just have some heavier rain here for lower Michigan and parts of Indiana, maybe a few storms near the Illinois-Indiana border. And then that will continue to push off to the east and weaken as we begin our Saturday morning. And then just a few scattered storms here down in parts of Tennessee and Mississippi and Alabama. And those will, just fire up here and push off to the east, more of a popcorn variety, I think. So, maybe some quarters here and there with these, nothing too substantial is expected, but that possibility is there to see some marginally severe hail with those, as well as some gusty winds as we go through the rest of this evening and into the overnight hours. Again, Memphis, it may get a bit noisy for you guys as we get into tomorrow morning. And you can see those linear structures here, so we may see more of a wind threat for areas such as Nashville and northern Mississippi, northern Alabama as we begin our Saturday. So here is today's hail forecast. Again, another large area that we're going to be watching for quarter-size hail or bigger. So let's zoom into a few areas here. Once again, Dallas, you do have a good chance to see some large hail today, possibly up to baseballs. We'll see what those storms do. I do have you at a high chance right now to see just hail in general. So just keep that in mind. And again, it should be around a rush hour. So, just keep an eye on to the sky and keep that in mind. Austin, we have you at a moderate chance to see that large hail, as well as here in Shreveport, Little Rock, Tulsa. You're on the very western end as that dry line pushes on through. And then moving on north, I do have a moderate chance to see some hail anywhere from quarter to half dollar size from St. Louis northward to Chicago. And Indianapolis here on the very eastern side of this. We'll see if those storms can hold together long enough to get those that hail potential in there. And then a low-end chance for Nashville as well as Atlanta eastward to Charlotte. And then in terms of our city forecast, the city of the day, no surprise, is DFW. So basically the entire Dallas-Fort Worth area, you are at a risk to see some very large hail today. I think the largest hail will be around 2.7 inches and 2.75 inches in diameter, so that's baseball size, for a high chance to see quarter size hail or larger, and a moderate chance to see golf ball size hail larger. So decent chances for you guys today in the DFW to see large hail. Now, getting into tomorrow, it's going to be quite interesting. This particular model will be firing up storms later in the evening tomorrow. So here we go. Starting off tomorrow morning, we'll be dry, and for most of the afternoon, we will be dry as well. So stopping at noon tomorrow, you can see the radar, at least this particular model, is keeping things, just sunny and dry, and everything is, handy and dandy fine. But as we get into later on in the evening, this particular model wants to fire up storms basically right over Oklahoma City. So if this does happen, we will see the potential for some very large hail here in OKC proper, and those will continue to push off to the east as we get into tomorrow evening. This is at 9 p.m. tomorrow, and this is quite impressive when you see an actual supercellular structure showing up on a model. So this is something that we really need to keep an eye on as we get into tomorrow evening. And then as we get into late tomorrow and then into early Sunday morning, you can see those storms push off and they start to weaken a bit. But there will be some more storms further north. And speaking of further north, here we go. Once again, we should be quiet starting our Saturday, but then getting into our Saturday later in the afternoon hours, we are expecting some storms to fire up here in parts of western Nebraska. And then as we get later on in the evening, you can see some individual cells trying to fire up here in central Nebraska and parts of Kansas. And then some meaner storms may fire up here near the Nebraska-Kansas border. So we have to keep an eye on, basically southern Nebraska, most of Kansas, including Wichita. We will see what happens for our favorite city, KC, if we can get any large hail in there. Omaha as well, and then this complex pushes off to the east as we go through the middle of the night on Saturday, and then into Sunday. We could see some storms knocking once again on Chicago's door as we begin our Sunday. And then we do have another area that we'll be watching tomorrow for some scattered activity here in the northeast. You can see some storms trying to fire up here in parts of Pennsylvania, and that will continue to spread and develop and move eastward as we go through tomorrow evening across parts of southern Ohio, Pennsylvania, up into parts of New York. And then as we lose that heating of the day, a lot of that activity will start to die off. But if you're in the Chicago area, once again, waking up on Sunday, it may get a bit noisy for you guys. So here is tomorrow's hail forecast. Again, 2 areas we'll be watching. The main one will be here in the central and southern plains. I'm keeping things just at a red for hail right now, so 2 to 2.5 inches in diameter for any storms that can break through the cap. So the cap may be an issue tomorrow, but if storms do go up, they could produce some very large hail. So Wichita down to Oklahoma City, you guys have the best chances to see that large hail tomorrow. A low-end chance down in Abilene, as well as Fayetteville, Arkansas. A better chance in our favorite city, KC. I won't jinx you guys. And then a low-end chance here in Omaha. I think it's going to be, by the time the storms get to you guys, it may be more of a wind risk than a hail risk. We'll keep an eye on that, though. And then a low-end chance to see quarter to half dollar size hail from Cleveland down to Charleston, as well as Pittsburgh. And then for our city of choice tomorrow, again, Oklahoma City, if storms can go up, that hail could be pretty large in size. So right now I'm just keeping it at 2.5 inches in diameter. I think the chances of 1 inch or greater hail is going to be at a moderate, as well as seeing golf ball size hail or larger. So staying kind of conservative right now, going to keep an eye on things to see how tomorrow folds out. And as always, we'll keep you updated with all that. And then with our jet stream, here we go. We have that one short wave in the north that will be giving us some severe weather from Chicago down to Missouri, parts of Iowa as well, and then another disturbance here in the south that we'll be keeping an eye on for today. And then getting into tomorrow, we get a stronger shortwave starting to move on in for the southern plains. So we will be watching here from basically Wichita down to Oklahoma City, and near the Red River Valley for that best chance for severe weather there. And that will push off to the east as we get into our Sunday. I'll show you the areas that we'll be watching in just a moment for our Sunday afternoon and evening, and that will push off to the east even more for our Monday and Monday evening. So just taking a look at Sunday, pretty large area we'll be watching from basically Chicago, Cincinnati, St. Louis, Memphis, Oklahoma City and Dallas. You guys should be fine. That activity should be off to your east for your Sunday. So a pretty large area we'll be watching as we end our weekend. So, I mean, I know it's a lot to talk about, a lot to take in. Thanks for sticking with us. I know it's a long video, so make sure if you haven't already, you follow us on X or Twitter or whatever the heck you want to call it. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, as well as our TikTok page. Make sure you hit see first on our Facebook page so you don't miss any of our live videos. If you would like to get set up with a demo to learn more about our products, you can scan that QR code above and we can give you all the information that you need. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can call us at 855-334-4245. You can email us at info@hilltrace.com and check out our website at www.hilltrace.com. And I am meteorologist Heather Kay. I hope you all have a great rest of your Friday and a wonderful weekend.